before my wedding. I saw her with another boy at her bachelorette dinner, and I didn't confront her. I recorded it. The restaurant lights were low, gold and warm, the kind meant for celebration. Laughter echoed off the walls, glasses clinked, music hummed softly beneath it all. And there she was, my fiancée, leaning closer to him than she ever leaned into me. Her hand brushed his arm, then stayed there. Too long, intimate, intentional. I stood across the street, unseen, my phone steady despite the tremor in my chest. Every second felt louder than the traffic. Every smile she gave him erased something we had built. I didn't call her name. I didn't storm in. Instead, I uploaded the video. No caption, no explanation. By the time her party ended, the world already knew. I've always been the quiet one, the kind people confuse for harmless. Not weak, just observant. I learned early that silence makes people careless. They show you exactly who they are when they think you're not paying attention. Her name is Aisha. We met in university, where I was the guy fixing everyone's laptops, while she lit up every room she walked into. She liked that I listened, said I made her feel safe. I didn't realize back then that safe sometimes means invisible. For 3 years, I built a life around us. I planned the dates, remembered the details, adjusted my pace to match her chaos. When she forgot things, I covered for her. When she crossed lines, I explained them away. Not to her, to myself. My friends used to joke that I was too calm, that I'd forgive anything. Maybe they were right. Or maybe I was just collecting moments, storing them like quiet evidence. Because love, when it's one-sided, teaches you patience in the worst way. And somewhere along the line, I stopped being her partner and became her certainty. It didn't start with something obvious. It never does. It was the way she'd flip her phone face down when I walked in. Casual, almost practiced. The way her laughter changed depending on who she was texting. Softer with me, brighter somewhere else. At dinners, she'd scroll while I spoke, nodding at the wrong moments. Once, I paused mid-sentence just to see if she'd notice. She didn't. Just murmured, "Yeah, that's crazy," to something I hadn't said. Her friends stopped including me in conversations, even when I was sitting right there. Inside jokes I wasn't meant to understand. Glances exchanged over my shoulder. I became background noise in my own relationship. One evening, I heard her on a call in the next room. Her voice, lighter, teasing. "Stop, someone might hear," she whispered. Followed by a laugh I hadn't heard in months. When she came back, she acted normal, asked if I'd eaten, smiled like nothing had shifted. I smiled back, because by then I had stopped asking questions. I had started paying attention. I didn't decide to act that night outside the restaurant. That moment was just confirmation. The decision had already been forming in the quiet spaces she thought didn't matter, the unanswered questions, the rehearsed smiles, the careful distance she kept growing between us while still calling it love. I had been standing in the truth for a while. I just hadn't named it yet. But watching her with him, unfiltered, unguarded, something settled inside me. Not anger, not heartbreak, just clarity. I went home and sat in the dark for a long time, replaying everything. Every pause, every deflection, every time she made me feel like I was imagining things. It all aligned too neatly to ignore. I realized I wasn't losing her. I had already lost her. What remained was just an image she maintained because it was convenient. And I understood something else too. Confrontation would give her control. She'd explain, deny, twist it into something smaller. So I chose something quieter, something final. I didn't need her to admit the truth. I just needed to place it where it couldn't be rewritten. I didn't rush. That was the difference between reaction and control. By morning, the video was already circulating, shared, reposted, dissected by people who didn't know us but understood enough. I didn't add a caption because I didn't need to. Context has a way of building itself when the truth is clear. Then I focused on everything else. The wedding was in 6 days. Bookings were finalized under my name: venue, catering, photographer. Payments traced back to my accounts. I reviewed every contract line by line, not as a groom but as someone closing a deal. Most had cancellation clauses, some didn't, but they had transfer options. I called each vendor calmly, one after another. No explanations, just adjustments. Dates shifted. Names updated. Guest confirmations paused. Our joint accounts separated within hours. Not aggressively, just precisely. I left what was hers untouched. I took back what was mine without noise. Even the apartment lease. I had ensured my name carried more weight when we signed it. A small detail at the time, a useful one now. By the end of the day, nothing dramatic had happened. But everything had already changed. I didn't call her. I didn't argue. I didn't give her the scene she might have been preparing for. On the morning of what was supposed to be our wedding week, she called me instead. Not once, 7 times. I let it ring every time. By then, the video had reached her. I knew because the messages started coming in. Mutual friends asking questions. Her friends going silent. Around noon, I sent a single message. Check the venue. Nothing more. She went there expecting answers. Instead, she found a different name on the booking. The date moved. The staff already informed. No decorations, no arrangements, no trace of the ceremony she had been preparing for. Just a quiet confirmation that it no longer belonged to her. By evening, her family called mine. Not with anger. Confusion. I didn't explain. I didn't need to. The video kept spreading, untouched by me, carrying its own weight. No edits, no accusations. Just her, being exactly who she chose to be. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel the need to prove anything. By the next day, everything had split into 2 worlds. Before the video and after it. Her friends stopped posting. The same people who once laughed with her in group chats suddenly turned quiet. Their messages reduced to seen receipts and unanswered questions. Some tried to reach me. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to explain to them. Her family reached out again, this time more careful. I could hear the shift in their tone, less confusion, more damage control. But even they couldn't rewrite what had already been seen. At work and among mutual circles, the story traveled in fragments. No one agreed on the details, but everyone agreed on the feeling. Something had ended, and not softly. As for me, I watched it all from a distance. I had already built long before the video went public. Reputation is strange, it belongs to perception, not truth. But truth still leaves consequences behind. What stayed with me wasn't satisfaction, it was clarity. People don't care about betrayal until it's visible. And once it is, they judge loudly, briefly, then move on. But the person who lived it doesn't move on as fast. And that's why it matters. After everything settled, the noise didn't stay as loud as I expected. It faded in layers. First the messages, then the rumors, then even the curiosity. What remained was something quieter, almost unfamiliar. Space. I moved out of the shared apartment 2 weeks later. Not in anger, not in haste, just a clean exit from a life that had already ended before I admitted it. Boxes were simple. Clothes, books, small things that still felt like mine. Nothing sentimental survived the packing. There were moments I thought I'd feel victorious, that I'd replay everything and find satisfaction in how it unfolded. But it didn't come like that. What came instead was understanding. People show you who they are in fragments long before they reveal the full picture. I just finally stopped ignoring the pieces. I don't hate her. That part surprised me the most. Hate still means connection. I don't have that anymore. The future doesn't feel like revenge anymore. It feels like rebuilding. Something I actually choose, not something I tolerate. And maybe that's the real ending here, not what I exposed. But what I stopped accepting, because silence isn't weakness when it's finally used to walk away.